Hi, welcome to Loquitur Gaming. I'm Zach. This is going to be a fun playthrough for me. This is Arkham Horror, the LCG. I'm going to be doing the scenarios that come in the core box. And the reason I say that this is going to be a fun playthrough for me, it's been a while. I've been away from Arkham Horror card game for a while. Still collected it, but I've been away for a while. And what has kind of brought me back at this time is I've got some of the starter decks. So I'm going to do a little series here on the channel where I'm going to play through the different starter decks, probably in the first campaign that's in the core box, just to get a feel for the different starter decks and try to compare them maybe in the same, same campaign. So it's going to be probably maybe 3 playthroughs of Night of the Zealot. I'm going to do Harvey Walters and Nathaniel Cho, and then I'll mix up the other 3, get 2 out of there, and then I'll bring 1 character back to play with the last character. So just kind of do a little comparison, and maybe this would be relevant for somebody who is maybe new to Arkham Horror, the card game. It's going to feel new to me because, like I said, it's been a while since I played. If somebody wants to just grab a starter investigator deck and 1 core box, this would be kind of their experience. I know that the core box comes with deck lists to play out of the core box, but this could be an interesting point. I mean, they tag these as investigator starter decks, so we'll see how it goes. A couple of notes on components that are a little contrary to what I just said. So somebody who is just starting out is probably not going to have some of this upgraded stuff. Although if you are just starting out, I would highly recommend getting these coin capsules for your tokens. But I also have quite a few things from Team Covenant, some of their upgraded components. I've got some player boards. I've got the health and sanity markers to go in the player boards, the resource tokens. I've got some doom tokens over there. And I've got the other counters. Now, I have used those counters in the past as clue counters and then just other tokens to count up certain things. Like some cards have uses on them, like ammo for a gun or something like that. But I actually also, for a very long time, I bought these at the 50th Gen Con, so 2017 Gen Con, I think it was, from, I think it was Top Shelf Gaming. I can't remember for sure, but they're these cool little magnifying glasses. I'm going to use these for clues, and I'm going to use the heart damage tokens as damage that goes on to monsters that I'm fighting. So I'll still use the damage that comes with the Team Covenant stuff for investigator damage and sanity hits. I'm going to use those to track damage on enemies. Okay, so for setup, I'm going to do standard play. So I've got the tokens for standard play for this campaign. I'm going to put in the bag. Let's take a peek at these 2 starting investigators. So we've got Nathaniel Cho, the boxer. When up-and-coming boxer Nathaniel Cho was offered lots of dough for a title fight, he thought he'd finally hit the big time, but his promoter turned out to be a part of the notorious O'Banian gang, and Nathaniel was pressured to fix fights by taking a dive every now and then. His refusal led to his brother Randall's accident. Nathaniel is rightly fed up with the mobsters endangering Arkham citizens on a nightly basis. Now he puts his fists to better use, patrolling the streets and defending others from harm. He's about to find out there are much more dangerous things that lurk in the shadows of Arkham than simple gangsters. So for deck building, I'm just going straight out of the Investigator Starter Deck, including the basic weakness that came in there. So we've got his character weakness and the basic weakness that came with his deck. Now, if we can see here, what are those called? Willpower is the one with the brain head looking thing. It's got a willpower of 3, intellect of 2, combat of 5, and agility of 2. When you deal damage to an enemy by an event or a fight ability on an event, deal 1 additional damage. And then his Elder Sign effect is, it'll be a +1 when it comes out of the bag. If this skill test is successful during an attack, return an event from your discard pile to your hand. So he can get events back into his hand. And he can take 9 damage and 6 sanity hits. And then Harvey Walters. Got to play Harvey Walters, the professor. He's a Miskatonic. Professor Walters began as a devotee of the archaic and obscure, but over the years he has discovered that his knowledge of ancient languages, profane relics, and strange rituals is vital to addressing dangers in the modern day. He is both an avid collector of prehistoric ephemera and a fount of knowledge regarding the bizarre primordial religions that worshipped nightmarish gods eons ago. There's perhaps no sane person alive who knows more about the occult than Harvey. When a supernatural event occurs, Professor Walters brings his considerable resources and experience to bear. Again, straight out of the box with his deck, including his basic weakness. So we've got willpower 4, intellect of 5, combat of 1, agility of 2. And his ability, after an investigator at your location draws 1 or more cards from their deck during the investigation phase, that investigator draws 1 card, limit once per round. And his Elder Sign effect, it'll be a +1 token when it comes out of the bag, and he gets to draw a card. He can take 7 damage and 8 sanity hits. Okay, so that's Harvey. One thing that I will say that I did like is the Investigator Starter Decks came with these, like a lot of these products do, came with these little inserts, and it has parts that talk about how to play it, and then on the back it talks about some upgrading things that you should consider. So that's nice of them. Interesting. All right, so like I said, we're playing Knight of the Zealot, and I'm sure most people have heard all of this before, but just for completion's sake, let's read it. The Ghoul's Hunger. Friday, September 18th, 1925. Arkham, Massachusetts. It's the end of a long and abnormally hot summer. The first hints of autumn beckon, but a heavy heat persists relentless. A silent, unspoken anger grips the town. Tempers are short, and in the last week alone, there have been numerous reports of townspeople coming to heated, violent blows with one another over simple misunderstandings. And now, a call from James Hankerson. He claims to have found a dismembered body in his barn. Blaming the weather would be too easy. There's something wrong with this town, and not a whole lot this old soothsayer can do to stop the slide. My auguries indicate a small group of investigators will soon take note of these strange happenings and set forth to make things right. I'll be watching their progress, but I won't be holding my breath. All right, so part 1, The Gathering. You and your partners have been investigating strange events taking place in your home city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Over the past few weeks, several townspeople have mysteriously gone missing. Recently, their corpses turned up in the woods, savaged and half-eaten. The police and newspapers have stated that wild animals are responsible, but you believe there's something else going on. You're gathered together at the lead investigator's home to discuss these bizarre events. And I think I'll have Harvey be the lead investigator, sure. So I gathered all of the encounter sets that it listed here. We've got the study location in play, and the other locations are set aside over here. We got the Ghoul Priest and Lita Chandler set aside over here. And the remainder of the encounter cards have been shuffled to form the encounter deck. All right. So, just one note, like I said, it's been a while since I played, So if you see something that I play wrong, this is going to be a little bit of me getting back into the swing of it. So please do leave comments down below if you see that I get a rule incorrect. I've got the rules reference here and the rule book close to me. So I've got their 5 resources, their 5 starting resources. Let's just give the encounter deck a quick shuffle. All right. So let's look at the agenda. What's going on? It's late at night. You're holed up in your study researching the bloody disappearances that have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear the sound of a strange chanting coming from your parlor down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning as if something were digging beneath the floor. So 3 doom on here, and this will advance. And let's just take a quick peek. Interesting and cool looking art. And then the Act 1A is called Trapped. As you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes, leaving behind only solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. And we need 2 clues per investigator to advance the act. So we'll need 4 because we've got 2 investigators. So we're in our study. You've been investigating the strange events occurring in Arkham for several days now. Your desk is covered in newspaper articles, police reports, and witness accounts. And the door to your study has vanished. So we've got a shroud value of 2 here in the study, and both of us are there, and 2 clues per investigator. So let's throw 4 clues on there. And just to double check, we deal 5 cards during setup. All right, I wanted to look it up just to double check, so I threw a little cut in there. It was 5 cards to draw for our opening hand. So we'll start with Nathaniel for 5. And what I think I'm going to do is I'll discard on this side, or maybe this side of the deck. I'll lay assets down below them, and then their threat area is in front of them. Okay, so we drew 1 weakness, so we have to draw another card. We got Randall Cho. That's his brother. After Randall Cho enters play, heal 3 damage or search your deck or discard pile for a weapon asset. So he seems like a later game card. Greta Wagner's the Purifier. You get +1 fight. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust Greta Wagner to deal 1 damage to her to discover a clue. 5 resources seems expensive. And these events we can fight and gain 2 resources. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. I think maybe I'll keep Greta, but she seems a little expensive for the beginning. I know for sure I'm going to mulligan these 4. I'm just thinking about maybe just getting a complete new hand. Now I'll keep her. She's going to give me another fight. So I'm drawing 4 more. Okay, we got physical training. It's an asset. That's pretty good. 1-2 punch is an event. You get +1 fight for this attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again. You get +2 and deal 1 damage for that attack. And with our ability, when you deal damage to an enemy by an event or a fight ability on an event, we deal additional damage. So this plays in with our character ability. So that's the card, 1-2 punch. I like that card. Monster Slayer's another fight that gives us another attack. So we got 2 physical trainings. Greta Wagner. All right, so I think that's, well, I don't think that is going to be his starting hand because we've already mulliganed. I like Arkham's mulligan rule, where you shuffle the cards that you did not keep back into the deck. It's not a, they don't go into your discard pile, and they also just don't get tossed all over the table unless I'm shuffling. All right, so now let's draw a hand for Harvey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any weaknesses? No. Disc of it Zamna. When a non-elite enemy spawns, this is also an asset in the necklace slot. What is that? Artifact? I can't remember what that slot's called. Accessory. I think it's accessory. I can discard this to automatically evade the enemy or deal 2 damage to it. Extensive research. So Harvey wants lots of cards in his hand. So like if you see this card here, extensive research costs 12, but you can reduce the cost to play extensive research by 1 for each other card in your hand, and you play that to discover 2 clues at your location. Here's another one. And Harvey does have cards that will increase his hand's size limit past the 8. As you can see here, he can get 15 or more cards in hand. You'd get all 3 of those things. So 2 additional intellect and 1 additional willpower. I don't know how early game this card is though. Well, 5 or more cards in hand for an extra intellect might be kind of early to do, because his power, even when he draws a card as an action during the investigation phase, he'll get an extra card. I don't know about that card. Higher education lets him spend resources to get additional willpower and intellect. Cryptic writings gains him 2 resources. If you draw cryptic writings during your turn, you get to immediately play it. I don't know. This is part of the fun of new decks and things. Trying to figure out what's the best thing. I might want, maybe I'll keep this because it only costs 1, but I think I might want to dig for some of the cards that actually increase my hand size. So let's draw 4 new ones and just see what we get. We're just learning Harvey's deck. Wait, we need to see if we got any weaknesses. No weaknesses. Burning the Midnight Oil. Investigate. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. Okay, so that'll get us some more money. And we're going to be investigating probably right away with Harvey, so that might be a good draw. Witten Green. While you control a tome or relic asset, you get +1 intellect. And our book here is a tome. After you reveal a location or put a new location into play, exhaust Witten Green. Search the top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or relic asset, draw it, and shuffle your deck. Okay, she seems like a good ally. Occult Invocation is a spell. As an additional cost to play Occult Invocation, discard up to 2 cards from your hand. He can fight using his intellect instead of his combat value, and he gets +1 to his intellect, and he deals extra damage. Deduction. If this skill test is successful while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location. That's cool. Yeah, I think we got a pretty good hand. Oops. Even though I'm terrible with shuffling of cards. Okay, so what I'm probably going to do just to keep things straight is I'll put their hands like this on top of their decks. And then, like I said, I'll put assets down below. Their threats will go up here, and maybe discards here and over here, just so they're out of the way. We shall see. Okay, so we skipped the Mythos phase during the first round, and we go straight to the investigation phase. So I think I'm going to have Harvey do some investigating, since he's got an intellect of 5 and we've got a shroud value of 2 here. So I'm going to play this event, Burning the Midnight Oil, to actually initiate the investigate action to gain 2 resources. So I will discard that and flip that 3 to, or that 1 to a 3 to do the investigate action. And I think I'll add deduction to it because it has an intellect resource icon, I guess those things are probably called, up there in the top left. But if I'm successful, this is going to get me another clue. So we got our 2 resources. Now we got to draw the bag. So we are at a value of 6. We start with 5. We got 1 from our icon there, so we're up 4. And I drew the hood. The hood is -1. If you fail, take 1 horror, but we passed. Okay, so our first action, we get to take an additional clue. So we've got 2 clues here. Second action, I mean, Harvey is such a good investigator. Why wouldn't I just keep getting clues? Because, let's see, our investigation for Nathaniel is only a 2. All right. Second action, let's just investigate again. So it's 5 to 2. Okay. And then go for the last one. It's 5 to 2 again. Auto fail. All right, Harvey's done. And now Nathaniel. We've got a wild here. It's 2 to 2. Do we just investigate, or do I set some stuff up? Let's try. I don't want to advance anything like at the end of my turn when I can't react to it. So let's try 1 investigate and see if Nathaniel can get it. It's a straight up 2 to 2. The odds are not great. Is this dumb? Maybe I should just set up and let Harvey investigate. We're going to put down a physical training. And I've got 2 of them. It's going to let me spend resources to increase my willpower or combat. So that'll sit down there as an asset. And I'll flip this 3. So I think I can do a close-up. These tokens have 3s on one side and 1s on the other. So I'm just going to flip the 3 to a 1 to spend 2. Then I've got 3 money left. I will draw a card, and then Harvey's ability, after an investigator at your location draws one or more cards during the investigation phase, that investigator draws a card, so we get to draw 2 cards. And we got our weakness, Tommy Malloy. All right. Prey, Nathaniel Cho only. Hunter, Force. When Tommy Malloy would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount to 1. Okay, so Tommy Malloy, he comes in engaged with us in our threat area. Then we have to fight or evade, or else we take an attack of opportunity. So he's got a combat value of 2. We've got a combat value of 5. And we've got 1 action left. We played a card for 1. We drew a card for our second action. So what I'm going to do is play this event for our third action. It's going to give us a fight action, and the attack will deal +1 damage. Because our ability is, if we deal damage to an enemy by an event, we have an additional damage. So if we succeed here, we're going to get to do 3 damage. Actually, oh no, wait, this is dumb because his thing is reduce the amount to 1. So we might as well just do a regular fight and save our cards for future fights. Yes, let's save our cards for future fights. I forgot about Tommy Malloy's ability. Okay, so 5-2, we're up by 3. What does our bag look like? We've got 1 -3, 1 -4, and an auto fail. So we've got 2 things in here that could make us fail. I could use my physical training and spend a resource to get an additional, so there's only 1. I kind of like these odds though. It's pretty much in our favor. Okay, so we drew a -1, and we were up by 3. So we will do a damage to Tommy Malloy. Okay, so then enemy phase. Enemies with the hunter keyword move, but he doesn't need to move. He's already engaged with me because he came out. Each engaged enemy attacks if able. He is able. However, will dodge. It's fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. So Tommy will not be attacking us. And I think I'll discard on this side. How do I want to do it? I just don't want this to get mixed up with my assets. I think that's fine over there. Okay, so that attack was stopped. Now, upkeep phase. I forgot to flip him over, but we'll just flip Harvey over. Ready all exhausted cards. There's no exhausted cards. Each investigator draws a card and gains a resource. So I've got 3 here. I'll flip one of these to a 3 and keep a 1 because he's going to go to 4. We've got 7 here, so we'll add 1. And then draw a card. Cryptic Writings. After you draw cryptic writings during your turn, play it. This was not my turn. This was the upkeep phase. So this stays in my hand. Okay. And Nathaniel's going to draw. Stand together. Choose another investigator location. Both you and that investigator gain 2 resources. Okay, we're kind of resource rich at the moment. Now we go back to the beginning, Mythos phase. We're going to put a Doom on the agenda. And we would advance it if the Doom threshold, but we've got 1 out of 3. Each investigator draws 1 card from the encounter deck. And I'm just going to shuffle this real quick again. So Harvey's our lead investigator. He will draw first. Oh, bummer. He drew a bad guy. He's going to come out engaged with him. Harvey is not a fighter, but we do have that card that lets us use our intellect to fight. Yeah, we're probably going to have to do that with him. And then Nathaniel, oh, he also drew a bad guy. No special spawn instructions. And that guy's pretty tough. We can take him out though with our with the event card that I almost played incorrectly against Tommy. Okay, so now let's go to the investigator phase. Let's start with Harvey. So we have to fight or evade, or we're going to take an attack of opportunity from this ghoul minion. And the ghoul minion's got, he'll do 1 damage and 1 insanity hit against us. And we don't like these ghouls at our location because there's tokens in the bag that get worse if there's ghouls. So occult invocation is actually pretty rough because we have to discard cards from our hand in order to actually play it. Let's see what Nathaniel can do, because maybe he could engage and fight it. Tommy does a lot of damage. Tommy does 2 damage. No, let's just do it. Let's get rid of... Let's get rid of these 2 cards to play Occult Invocation. And this will give us the ability to fight, to use our book intellect. Is that what it's called? Yeah, intellect. Instead of our combat, you get +1 intellect and deal +1 damage for this attack for each card discarded as part of this card's cost. Oh, it's discard up to 2 cards from your hand. You don't have to discard cards. We're going to discard just 1 card to get an extra damage. So we can do 2 damage with 1 hit on this guy to take him out, hopefully in 1 attack here. Because we start with a base intellect of 5, we get +1, that's 6. 6 to 2, we're 4 up on this guy. Hey, the Elder Sign is a +1, and we get to draw a card. And after Investigator to your location draws 1 or more cards from the deck during the investigation phase. So we're going to get to draw 2, and that'll be the 1 time this round. Okay, so let's first start with, we passed our test. Oh, we got to pay 2 resources for this also. So let's flip 3 to a 1. So we beat his combat value by a lot. We got the extra damage because we discarded a card. So this minion is defeated. minion ghoul. And because we draw our Elder Sign, we get to draw a card, and because of our power, we get to draw another card. Vault of Knowledge. Harvey Walters deck, your maximum hand size is increased by 2. After you successfully investigate, exhaust Vault of Knowledge and choose an investigator at your location, that investigator draws 1 card. And Arcane Enlightenment, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. You have 1 additional hand slot, which can only be used to hold a tome asset. And this is an arcane asset. All right, so our first action was to fight. For our second action, I'm going to pay 3 resources to put down the Vault of Knowledge. Because if we successfully investigate with our last action here, which we're going to do, $5 to 2. $5 to 2. +1, we succeed. So he takes the 4th clue. That's his last action. But we can exhaust Vault of Knowledge to draw a card. But we've already done our power once already. We got Laboratory Assistant, another maximum hand size increased by 2. After Laboratory Assistant enters play, draw 2 cards. Okay. We've got 4 clues. Do we turn them in? I'm going to check the rules real quick on when we turn clues in. Be right back. All right, so any investigator can turn in clues during the investigation phase. So I'm going to turn in these 4 clues because we needed 2 per investigator to advance the act. The door on the floor. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this odd, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob, and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. Put into play the set-aside hallway, cellar, attic, and parlor. Okay, so we've got our new locations. Discard each enemy in the study. Oh, good. And I believe I remember reading that enemies in your threat area are considered to be at your location. I'm almost positive, yeah. If I'm wrong, let me know down below and I'll look it up after this too, which this actually works out. So this, I think everything is considered to be at your location, your assets, your enemy, your threat area, everything. So these guys are in the study, so Tommy Malloy gets discarded. Okay. Place each investigator in the hallway. Remove the study from the game. Okay, so the study is out. So we've got the hallway, the attic. Let's do this. Attic, hallway, cellar, and parlor. And we've got more room. And I have these made out of paper. I know you can buy some plastic ones. Tells me what's connected to what. Yep, I think that's it. So now our new act, the barrier. A glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlor. As you move toward it, intense heat forces you back away. Picking up a handful of dirt, you toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there's something in the cellar or attic that can help. Objective: when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. Okay, so this time we have to be back in the hallway with 3 clues per investigator, so a total of 6 clues to advance. And I think one of these was easier than the other one to investigate at. I can't remember for sure. I don't remember which is which. Well, Harvey's already gone. He's still at the hallway. It's Nathaniel's turn, and we do not have to worry now about enemies he's engaged with. He's only got an intellect of 2. With Greta, if he defeats an enemy, he can discover a clue. Let's take an action to move to... Oh, we should be able to see what's in the hallway. A moment of panic and disorientation strikes you as you land upon the floor of the hallway. The world spins as if turned on its head. The walls of your house are splattered with mud, and your hardwood floor is gone, replaced with a dirt path. No clues here. Let's move to the cellar. I want to go to the cellar or the attic. Let's try the cellar. The stairs leading down to your cellar are slick, and they glisten with a thin layer of ice. This is a shroud of 4. After you enter the cellar, take a damage. So we got 1 damage there. 2 clues per investigator, so it's 4 clues. With a shroud of 4, I don't see Nathaniel doing much here. But maybe he'll draw an enemy. I'm almost tempted with my 2 remaining actions just to move up to the attic, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, that one of them has a lower shroud than the other one. Yeah, so 2, 3 might not be smart, but that's what I'm going to do. The smell of rotten meat assaults your nostrils as you approach the attic stairs. Forced, after you enter the attic, take a horror. So he's got 5 horror left he can take. Yeah, there's only 1 shroud here. The bloody carcass of a malformed beast swings from a meat hook chained to the ceiling. Blood drains slowly from the carcass, dripping into a small barrel. All right, that's 3 for him. Okay, enemy phase, there are no enemies. Upkeep phase, reset cards. Take a resource, so we're going to go from 3 to 4, and from 4 to 5, and let's draw a card. Forbidden Tome. 5 secrets. Exhaust Forbidden Tome and spend 1 secret. Draw 1 card. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your hand and there are no secrets on Forbidden Tome, you may discard it and record in your campaign log that you have translated the tome. I don't know what translating the tome will do for us. That also has a wild resource on it. And our card draw over here is a counterpunch. Play after an enemy attacks you, even if the attack was canceled. Fight this attack targets the attacking enemy. Okay, so we get to punch back, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. We're not over our hand limit. Mythos phase. Advance the Doom. Still below 3. And then cards. So Harvey first. Man, another ghoul? I did shuffle that deck, right? Okay. That's a problem. And now Nathaniel's card, Swarm of Rats. It's not a ghoul. 1, 1, and 3. So, and it's a hunter. So we've got some rats engaged with us and a ghoul engaged with Harvey. Okay. So, investigation phase. I forgot to put the clues on the attic. 4 clues, and each of these is worth a victory point if we clear the clues off. Harvey could have a hard time with that ghoul minion. Unless we try to evade it. Let's go with Nathaniel first, and we're just going to do a straight up attack on the rats. 5 to 1. I'm not going to use any extra cards or anything. -2. Yeah, if I had Greta out, that would have gotten me something. But I don't. So that's one action. So I'm actually contemplating moving to the hallway and fighting the ghoul for Harvey. Or do I have Harvey evade on his turn? I think I'll put Greta out in case this happens again. So she's going to cost me all of my resources. If I could pick them up. All 5 of my resources. And then I think I'll investigate. I'm going to have Harvey try to evade the ghoul minion. So we've got a intellect of 2 against a shroud of 1, so we're up only 1 here. Not the best odds. -2, we failed. Okay, that's Nathaniel's turn. Yeah, so let's go to Harvey. I have nothing that's going to help me do this to fight. And my evade is tied 2 to 2. He doesn't have a keyword or anything that would make him like retaliate against me if I fail to evade him. It's 2 to 2. I think I'll toss the Forbidden Tome for the wild to give me 3. So 3 to 2, I'm up by 1. Yeah, -1, that was a good idea. So first action, we successfully evade the ghoul minion. And he goes there in the hallway. Second action, I'm going to move down to the cellar. And I have to take a damage. moving into the cellar. Third action, I'll investigate. It's 5. Man, I'm actually thinking about, I'll do that next turn. 5 to 4, so I'm up only 1. Oh, I don't know if I should set up to do some big investigating next turn. Put this out, and then, but then I need to get several more cards into my hand. I could put the laboratory assistant out. She could also be a buffer in case more enemies come out. I'm up 1. I'll do the investigate. I'm up only 1 though. All right, 0. Got a clue. And that's 3 actions for everybody. Evade, move, and investigate. Enemy phase. Enemies with hunter keyword. Nobody's ready with the hunter. Nobody's engaged. Reset. And this ghoul does not have the keyword hunter, so he wouldn't move anyway. So he's just going to hang out there until Nathaniel Cho comes down to take him out. All right, let's get resources. Cards. Higher education. While you have 5 or more cards in your hand, higher education gains. Spend a resource. Okay. That's a 0 cost asset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vicious Blow. If the skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. So we're building up for some good damage anyway. Got our resources, got our cards. We're below our hand limit. Now we are unfortunately going to go to the Mythos phase. We would put a 3rd Doom on the agenda. So you have to advance the agenda. Your house continues to change before your very eyes. The walls have decayed, and the ground in many rooms has turned to dirt. It is almost as if you've been transported somewhere else entirely, although every now and again you recognize elements of your former home. The lead investigator must decide. Either each investigator discards 1 card at random from his or her hand, or the lead investigator takes 2 horror. He's got 8 sanity, so I think we'll take the 2 horror. I kind of like my cards, but that's probably not a good long-term play. But he's got 6 left, so. And now, Rise of the Ghouls. The floor beneath you is giving way, and you see a vast network of tunnels twisting into the darkness below. Shapes and silhouettes of strange creatures move swiftly through the tunnels, trying to find a way up. You probably don't want to be here when they do. And 7 Doom for this card to advance it. All right, so that was Doom advancing the agenda. So now bad cards for Harvey. Obscuring Fog. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. Okay, so we're at 6. All right, and now Nathaniel's card. Grasping Hands. Revelation. Test 3 agility. For each point you fail by, take a damage. Is it agility? Yeah. Counterpunch has agility. Monster Slayer has a wild. I think we're good. So we're down by 1. We start with 2. Okay, so we lose by 1, so we'll take 1 damage. Flip our 1 to a 2. Okay, not too bad. First time we didn't draw any enemies. Okay, Harvey, what can you do about this down here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards right now. If we've got 5 resources. If I put her into play, I don't really need to put her into play, other than she can let me draw 2 cards. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to play her for 2. When she enters play, draw 2 cards, and then with my power, if I draw 1 or more cards, I get another card. So we're drawing 3 cards. 1, 2, 3, and we drew a weakness. Thrice Damned Curiosity. Revelation. For every 3 cards in your hand, take 1 damage. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just move our 1 over and put a 2. Okay. Insights. Reaction after you draw cryptic writings during your turn, play it. So you have to play that. That gains us 2 resources. And we got another laboratory assistant. That did not work out how I wanted it to. Because now I don't have 5 cards in my hand. Well, I will. I mean, I won't after I play this card. I wanted the extra intellect, because right now I'm going 5 against 6. So if I can 6, another laboratory assistant for 7, higher education for 8, go 8 against 6. Harvey wants a lot of cards, but this obscuring fog is kind of a bummer. Okay, so it's 8 to 6 on this investigate for my second action here. 8 to 6, and the skull is minus X, where X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location, which is 0. Okay, so we successfully investigated. Obscuring fog gets discarded. And then we can exhaust Vault of Knowledge to draw a card. And we got Disc of Itzamna. When a non-elite enemy spawns to your location, discard this to either evade it or deal it 2 damage. I think we should get this into play for our last action. Just in case another enemy spawns with Harvey. So let's spend 3 resources for our last action to play the disc. All right, what a turn. All right, Nathaniel. I mean, I have this wild. We're at a +1. I guess we just go for it. At a +1. If this skill is successful during an attack, return an event from your discard pile to your hand. He's not attacking. Okay, so we are +1. -1 makes it even, so we take 1 clue. We'll do another investigate action here. The skull is -X and there's no ghouls, so we get a second one and our third one. Still at a +1, -4 is an epic fail. Okay, so that's Nathaniel's turn. Enemies. He's not a hunter, so he will not move. Nobody's engaged. Reset. Flip. Flip. Let's get a card. Preposterous Sketches. Play only if there is a clue on your location. Draw 3 cards. Okay. And I'm just going to get a resource like this. Resource here. And we will draw. Flesh Ward ritual uses 4 charges. When you're dealt damage and or horror from an enemy attack, exhaust Flesh Ward and spend 1 charge. Cancel 1 damage or horror just dealt from that attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Okay, Mythos phase. Doom. It's not enough. Bad cards. Swarm of Rats. That is a hunter. I could automatically evade the enemy or deal it 2 damage. We will discard this to deal it 2 damage and just get rid of it. Or if I evade it, either way I'm discarding this, so I might as well just get rid of it because that's a hunter and I don't have to deal with it later. Okay, Nathaniel's bad card. Frozen in Fear. Revelation. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade each round, it costs 1 additional action. At the end of your turn, test 3 willpower. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. So a good thing we are going to be investigating, not moving, fighting, or evading mostly this turn. Okay, that was bad cards. Now, Investigator phase. Let's just start with Nathaniel. He's only got 2 resources. Okay, we're just going to go straight to investigating. He's up by 1. I really want to keep that card to fight with, though. Okay, he's up by 1. Hooded Figure is -1 if you fail to take a horror, but he was up by 1. So that's 3. So we've got 5 and we need 6 clues, but I think I'm going to clear these off to get the victory points from them. So second action still up by 1. +1. Okay, now third action. I don't have enough actions to move. I don't want to move and get this minion on me anyways without the ability to do anything about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to go to 8. Let's just take a resource. Okay, so Nathaniel's done. Harvey. There's clues at his location. We're going to pay 2 to do preposterous sketches and draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. We got Feed the Mind twice, which is a spell. It's an arcane. Has 3 uses. Exhaust it and spend one of the uses. Test book against 1. For each point you succeed by, you can draw cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to use our last 2 actions to get these clues. So we are also only up by 1. So let's use this Feed the Mind. It has a book intellect resource icon on it to make our test, to make our skill 6 against the 4. So we're up 2. Oh, wait, hang on. Before I go to the rest of Harvey's turn, we have to do this Frozen in Fear. My will power is 3, and I have to test against 3 to discard it. So I'm going to use this one in my second physical training. So both of these 2 cards have willpower resources on them. So that takes my skill to 5 against the 3. And the skull is the ghoul one, and there's no ghouls, so that gets discarded. So now we can move a little easier next turn. Now back over here, we're at 6 on our skill to a 4 shroud here. We're up to -1. We successfully investigated. I will exhaust this to draw a card. And with our power, we get to draw a second card. Deduction. If this skill test is successful while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue. Ah, where were you 1 turn ago? Occult is our attacking card, which is good. So now for our next thing, we're at 5. We've got 2 of these books in our hand. So let's take us back up to 6 again. This is our last action. Six to 4. Hooded figure is -1, so we passed by 1. All right, so we're done. He's not a hunter. Nobody's engaged. We reset. He goes up. Then resource and cards. So let's take a card. Arcane Enlightenment. So we have 2 of those. That gives us 2 willpower, which is good in case we have to test against something against that deck. And a resource, and card. Another Greta Wagner. So we could possibly toss her. I might have done a fight and I forgot I had her. She gives me a +1. Did I do I haven't done a fight up there, no. Okay. Mythos phase. Advance the Dooms well below 7. Harvey's card. Grasping Hands. Revelation. Test 3 agility. For each point you fail by, take a damage. No wilds or agility. Maybe our lab assistant can take the damage. Our agility is 2. We're testing against 3. The skull is -X for the number of ghouls. There's no ghouls. So we fail by 1. I think I'm going to have the lab assistant take it because I'm nowhere near my hand size because this also gives me 2 extra. I'm at a hand size of 10 right now. And she's not doing anything else for me right now. That was Harvey's card. Nathaniel's card. Ancient Evils. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the agenda to advance. Okay, so it's now at 3 out of 7. All right, our turn. Nathaniel's going to go first. He's going to move to the hallway, which is going to bring the ghoul minion to him. I've got 4 resources. So my combat right now is a 6. His combat is a 2. If this test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. I feel like I should use one of these cards just to be efficient. I don't know what else I would really do with him though, other than just fight twice. Yeah, we moved. Let's just fight twice. Yeah, we'll fight twice. So I'm at 5. +1 is 6. I'm not going to spend any resources to bump it up. I'm up by 4. So really only the tentacles could be a failure. I should know better than to say things like that. Okay, so now I want to make sure he dies, so I'm going to have to play one of these things. I will play... I have to do an event. Yeah, we'll do this event. It's going to be overkill because it would essentially be 3 damage going in. So I'm still up by 4. This event gives me the ability to do a fight action. And it's going to deal +1 damage. And since it's an event, with his ability, it'd be another +1 damage. So I'm up by 4. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's the Arkham Horror bag for you. Don't I have Counter Punch. Yeah, so we will see that in action. Okay, so that's Nathaniel's turn. This should be gone. Harvey's first action will be to move here. And then when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may as a group spin the requisite number. Okay, so we have to get to the end of the round. So what's Harvey gonna do then? That was 1 move. Put some assets into play. What should we get into play? Let's maybe finally get this into play for our second action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our third action will draw a card and use his power to draw a second card. So we got an extensive research and another preposterous sketches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards now. So we're an even better clue investigator. All right, so Harvey's done. Now we go to enemies. No hunters need to move. This ghoul minion is engaged with us. It will attack. think we'll just have Greta take the attack and the sanity horror. And then we're going to play Counter Punch. Fast, play after an enemy attacks you, even if that attack was canceled. It was not canceled. Fight, this attack targets the attacking enemy. And this is an event, so we're going to do 2 damage on this attack against this ghoul minion, assuming that we actually succeed. Skull, -1 for each ghoul. That is a ghoul, but we were up by 4, so with that we do another damage, and it's gone. Enemy phase, so the upkeep phase. We're both back in business. Exhausted cards would ready. Draw a card. Extensive research. Reduce the cost of extensive. So now we've got 2 of those in our hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand. Gain a resource. Gain a resource. Draw a card. Ooh, we got his brother, Randall Cho. After Randall Cho enters play, heal 3 damage, or search your deck or discard pile for a weapon asset. Play it, paying its cost, and shuffle your deck. That's interesting. Okay, hand size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And his hand size is increased by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're just at 8. So he's got 2 more room. So we're good there. End of the round, we can turn in 6 clues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clues to advance this act, because it says when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking passage into the parlor has vanished. Reveal the parlor. So the parlor has a 2 shroud, but there's no clues. You can resign. This is too much for me. You run out of the front door, fleeing in panic. While Lita Chandler is not controlled by a player, she gains parlay. Oh yeah, so the next thing is put the set aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlor. Okay. So this is Lita. And she's going to give you more combat, and you can do more damage against monsters. So she's in the parlor, and then the ghoul priest comes into the hallway. And he's got some special stuff going on here. He is a monster, he's a ghoul, he's elite. He's also a hunter with retaliate. And retaliate, if we fail when attacking him, he will do his 2 damage and 2 horror to the person that's fighting him. His prey is highest fight. So he's going to instantly engage Nathaniel. All right. What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlor, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing towards you. Objective: if the ghoul priest is defeated, advance. So no clues to advance this. We need to defeat the ghoul priest. And now we actually go to the Mythos phase, starting a new round. Advance the Doom, it's still below 7. bad cards. So for Harvey, Frozen in Fear. So it's the one that's going to make it harder to move. And Nathaniel's going to grab Crypt Chill, Revelation. Test 4 willpower. If you fail, choose and discard one asset you control. Okay, so our willpower is 3. I don't think we're going to have time to get Flesh Ward out because we would take an attack of opportunity. Or should we? The Ghoul Priest is going to have 10 hit points. Greta can absorb some of this damage. Our evade is just not high enough to give us a turn of trying to hide from this guy. I don't think we're going to have a chance to get very many cards out, and we don't have any more events that are fighting events. Yeah, we do. We've got 1-2 punch. Vicious Blow will give us more damage. I don't know if taking the attack of opportunity, it could actually be a smart thing to do. Okay, so Crypt Chill, we have to test 4 willpower. So we're -1, and we will have to discard an asset if we fail, which is the most likely outcome here. Yes, so we still are down by 1. Or down by 2, actually, because there's a ghoul at our location. So we have to discard an asset. We will get rid of physical training. That's an asset. Okay, so that was Mythos phase. Harvey's turn. Unfortunately, he has to spend 2 actions to move because of Frozen in Fear. You can't do anything about it right now. And we are going to parlay with Lita. It's an Intellect 4 test. Yeah, we've got 5. And we've got more than 5 cards in our hand, so we're at 6. Because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm actually going to get rid of one of these extensive researches to add 2 more to it. So we are at an intellect value of 8. So we're testing 8 to 4. And I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. Okay. -2. So we passed the test. And we're going to take control of Lita Chandler. So she's an ally. She's going to take our ally slot. While you control Lita Chandler, she gains each investigator at your location gets +1 combat. When an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, that investigator deals +1 damage. Okay, so that was our 3rd action, was parlaying with Lita. Now at the end of our turn, we test 3 willpower. We've got 2 of these Arcane Enlightenments, which has 2 willpower resources on it. That's going to take us to 6, so we're testing 6 against 3 Oh, -4. So it's still there. That's a bummer. Okay, Harvey's done. Now we go to Nathaniel. And so this is the question of the hour. I think we do it. Let me peek real quick. When does an attack of opportunity happen? Is it after I take the action? Let's look real quick. Each time an investigator is engaged with one or more, takes an action other than that, each of those enemies makes attack of opportunity against the investigator. In order of the investigator's choosing, each attack deals that enemy's damage. It's made immediately after all costs of initiating action that provoke the attack have been paid, but before the application of that action's effect upon the game state. All right. That's pretty clear. So we're going to pay the 3 resources. I'm putting out Flesh Ward. I'm hoping that this can absorb some damage while this Ghoul Priest is engaged with us. So we can cancel 1 damage or horror just dealt from that attack. We've got plenty of health, but our horror is kind of light. So that's going to get 4 charges on it, and that's what we're going to use these tokens to track. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't use this yet. Before it affects the game state, the Ghoul Priest will attack. Do I have Greta take it? If she takes the damage and one of the horror... I don't know what happens if there's leftover. I think it all has to get spread around. Let me look this rule up real quick. I'll just throw in a break here. Okay, it looks like you can spread damage and stuff around. So let's put 1 damage here, 1 damage here, and 2 horror here. So we've got 3 horror left and 6 damage we can take. But Greta's still alive. And now we've got this that we can use to absorb future portions of his damage. Okay, so our first action was to play Flesh Ward, and I hope that wasn't a mistake. Now I'm going to fight using this event, this 1-2 punch. You get +1 combat for this attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again. You get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for that attack. So this hopefully will be pretty good. Okay, so with this +1, we're at 6. Greta gives us another one. We're at 7 to his 4, so we're up 3. We're up 3, -1, so we beat it by 2. And because this is a fight that's from an event, our ability will let us place 2nd damage on him. And we can only do that once per phase, so that's the one time we get to do it. But this one lets us fight again at a +2. So now we're 5, 6, 7, 8 to 4. We're up by 4. Oh man, it's like sticky or something. Oh, I got to pay 2 resources for that card, sorry. That was my last 2 resources. So that's my second action. Then my third action will be to fight the Ghoul Priest again. I'm at 5, 6. I'm going to play Vicious Blow to get a 7th combat icon there, and then this will do +1 damage. So what did I say? 7? Yeah, 5, 6, 7. Who needs Lita at their location, right? So we're up by 3, -1, okay. So 2 damage again because of the +1 from this. So he's got 4 damage on him. Oh, you know what? He retaliates because we failed. So with that retaliate, I'll use this to cancel a horror. And I'll just have to take it. Because I don't want to kill Greta? Question mark. Taking that attack of opportunity might have been dumb. We'll see. All right, so that was Nathaniel's turn. Pulling that tentacle was bad. Enemy phase. And now our thing is exhausted. So he's going to attack. We have to take 2 damage. And Greta will take a horror. She can take 1 horror and 1 damage, so we only have to take 1 damage and 1 horror. All right. So he attacked. Reset. Reset this. Okay. Resources and cards. Burning the Midnight Oil. We're not investigating anymore. Choose another investigator location. Both you and the investigator gain 2 resources. Okay, so no extra damage from that event. All right. He's got 6 health left. We need to get Lita over there and do 3 successful attacks against him. Okay, Mythos phase. So we're at 5 out of 7 on that. Now bad cards. Oh man, that's not good. Yeah, in combination with the Frozen in Fear, that hurts. Okay, over here, put Dissident Voices into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard it. That's fine. We're just fighting anyway. As long as we don't get retaliated against, we should be okay. We've only got 1 sanity left. So Nathaniel's almost knocked out. Done our bad cards. Let's go to our investigator phase. We've got Swarm of Rats to deal with. They are not a monster, so Lita is not going to help. We're going to play another occult invocation. We got to pay 2 resources to do that. We don't need to discard any cards because we don't need. Oh, it's +1 for every card we discard. So right now, our fight is 5 to 1. We don't need to discard any cards. We don't need any extra damage or any extra fight because we're already 4 up. against these rats. And that's -0 because there's no ghouls. The rats are dead, that's 1. And then it's going to take us 2 actions to move back to the hallway because of our Frozen in Fear. Now at the end of our turn, let's just play this Arcane Enlightenment, same card we played last time, so that we are up by 4 against this Frozen in Fear. -2. So that's gone. Oh no. The first time you perform one of the following actions. The fight cost us 2 actions. The move then only cost us 1. So just flop that requirement. Still good though, still good. Because now we've got Lita at our location. So we got a +1 fight and +1 damage against monsters. So we've got 5, 6 for our first attack here. Let's add Greta. She's got a combat icon. So we're at 7-4. I really wish we had another event in our hand. 7-4. Okay, -1. And she's going to allow us to do an extra damage. So that's 6. We're just going to do that again, discarding Nathaniel Cho here. Wait, we have to beat him or he's dead. When you are dealt damage and are horror from enemy attack, exhaust Flesh Ward and spend 1 charge. Cancel 1 damage or horror just dealt. I think actually we'll be okay. But okay, let's discard Randall Cho. He has a wild symbol. So it is again 7-4. We're up 3. -1. And Lita's going to make that 2 more damage. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. And now we have to do this attack again at 6-4. There's nothing I can do. I wouldn't be able to play assets or events anyway because of dissonant voices. Okay, so we're up 2. Okay, the skull is -X. X is for the number of ghouls. There's 1 ghoul. Okay, so we get it by 1. 2 more damage. That's 10 damage. And 5 per investigator. So the ghoul priest is taken out. And that'll go in the victory display for 2 victory points. If the ghoul priest is defeated, advance. When the robed creature falls, the fiendish swarm burrows back into the ground, and the chaos of the house quiets. But the stranger in your parlor doesn't seem relieved. You broke my seal that was set up to trap the ghouls within. She raises her torch. Now we must take more direct measures and burn this hell pit to the ground. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. It was never much of a home. Burn it down. Read resolution 1. Or this hell pit is my home. No way we are burning it. After everything that I just saw, I would probably burn it down. Let's read resolution 1. Resolution 1. You nod and allow the red-haired woman to set the walls and floor of your house ablaze. The fire spreads quickly, and you run out the front door to avoid being caught in the inferno. From the sidewalk, you watch as everything you own is consumed by the flames. Come with me, the woman says. You must be told of the threat that lurks below. Alone, we are surely doomed, but together we can stop it. In your campaign log, record that your house was burned to the ground. The lead investigator earns Lead a Chantler card and may include it in his or her deck. This card does not count against the investigator's deck size. The lead investigator suffers 1 mental trauma from watching his or her home becoming a smoldering ruin. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory value of each card in the victory display. So we're going to get 2, 3, 4. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as he or she gains insight into the hidden world of the mythos. So we would get 6. Yeah, so we're going to get 6, and we're going to suffer 1 mental trauma. But we get Lita in our deck. Okay, so that's the first scenario of the Night of the Zealot. Like I said, I'm going to go through this campaign with these 2 decks. I'll take the 6 experience points and look through what these starter investigator decks offer. Level them up. Show you what cards I bought. It was pretty close. We took quite a bit of horror on Nathaniel over here. But we made it through. 5 out of 7 Doom on that one. But it is the starter scenario. So, okay, let me know if there's anything you saw that I missed or other strategies, anything that you have. If you're an expert Arkham Horror card game player, I'm not by any means. It's been a long time. Leave me comments down below. Any combination of the other 3 starter investigators you want to see go through the campaign, see what their decks are like. Let me know, see what their powers are like. And anything else, Arkham Horror LCG related or channel related, comments down below. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.